Searching podcasts for Dave, and one more time.
In the midst of this absolutely ridiculous center of the sun kind of heat wave, we know just the ticket. How about spending time with the two coolest dudes in the South? Yeah, we wanted that too. But Peter Torito and Rick Portier couldn't be here. So, you got these two quack chews. You're welcome, America. This is Dave and Juan.
On three.
Number 2.
I'm going to just say one.
And I'm going to say, woohoo. I cut you off.
That's all right. That's all right. Hey, everybody. How you doing? I'm Dave.
I'm Juan.
And this is Dave and Juan.
More time.
Thank you. Thank you. We kind of skipped around here a little bit because, we don't know that we need to tell you anymore, America, but you sort of know it. It's implied by the fact we showed up. But it just for the record, America.
All right. You're welcome.
You're welcome. Good to be back.
And each week, the world proves us right.
That's right. It does. So we're doing this on a Sunday. Just time stamp it. The young man Alvarez, or I think his last name's Alvarez, just won Wimbledon like 10 minutes ago. And I know that because I can hear my son screaming like crazy.
Is that who you're pulling for?
I guess from the sounds of the cheers, I believe so. He's a 20-year-old young man, just beat Djokovic in the Wimbledon final, and I know that appeals to about 3 people out there in the audience. But I'm one of them. That used to be my.
I used to love to watch tennis, man. Back in the Andre Agassi days, probably more because I was a fan of his hair.
Yeah, Agassi was an interesting animal. If you read his book or listened to interviews, he was toward the end. He actually played, and I want to say it might have been the year because he was sort of washed up. He was supposed to be gone, and then he had a resurgence, and he ended up being this beloved figure, and him and Sampras, they did some great things. But I think it was when he was winning either the Wimbledon or anyway, he was wearing a wig at one time.
Yeah.
He had right. So he was so caught up in the flowing, right.
Right. He knew. That's why I was watching him.
That
I bought those Nike denim shorts with the orange tights under it.
Oh, you did really?
I did. They're the most uncomfortable things I ever owned in my life.
Well, there you go. He appreciates the cut he got on that. But yeah, man, tennis used to be my life, man. Well, shouldn't say that. It wasn't my life, but that was my thing, man. I lived. We've talked before about the days and days and weeks on the. If you just add up all the time, I stood on the cutoff youth center tennis courts, right?
It's probably still, you would probably still have the record.
I would think I probably spent more time than anybody else standing with it. There may be others out there that would, but
at least the longest persons of any person standing there actually playing tennis.
Actually, yes, that's right. Yeah, I can't tell you for how much meth was smoked there, or beer, especially once the fences came down. But that was that was you had to be truly dedicated to be a tennis player in South Lafourche back in the day, because it wasn't like we had
wasn't a
great
popular
facility.
sport. You didn't have
Yeah, it's a kind of sport everybody thought was kind of interesting. That was different, cool. While you play tennis, everybody knows what tennis, but nobody plays it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so just finding decent talent to play against.
Yeah.
But the other thing,
hit the ball against the garage door so long.
There you go. And part of being a tennis player in South Lafourche back in the day was keeping a push broom in your trunk of your car, because more often than not, if you did pull up to a public court to play, you may have to sweep broken beer bottles.
I was thinking.
Yeah, that was apparently what so I can't tell you if Djokovic or this Alcaraz, I don't know how many tennis courts they've had to clear in their day to play.
They probably hadn't swept one in a long time.
Been a minute. But do you guys have tennis courts up in Pankerville when you were growing up? You ever?
Not in Pankerville. In Napoleonville behind the high school, they had like 2. And then by the I guess the Bayou Swim Club in
Bayou Swim Club.
Napoleonville. Had a couple.
Man, we didn't growing up, there were two, I think it was two courts, may have been three, but I think there were two tennis courts behind the church in Galliana. And it's one of those things. And it might have been watching Wimbledon. This was back in the day, y'all. Those of you that are younger that don't remember this, there were no VCRs. There were no, right? So you had to wake up. If you were going to watch Wimbledon, breakfast at Wimbledon, man.
Mhm.
And you watching Bjorn Borg. That's a guy whose hair you should have admired back in the day. I mean, Borg had it going on in McEnroe, and so I just enjoyed watching it and found
There were a lot of back in, and maybe there are now. I don't know, but there were just a lot of big rivalries back then.
yeah, they made them. I think there are today as well, but not like the iconic.
Mm-hmm.
And then tennis was a big deal. It's still it's a worldwide sport. It does very well. But there was a time when we had from some say the Jimmy Connors, Bjorn Borg, John McEnroe era. That was probably honestly tennis's peak in America. And then later on Sampras and Agassi. But yeah, that was it. I do remember. Do you remember the wooden rackets? We all had wooden rackets back then.
Mm-hmm. I had a red, white, and blue, and I got it in 1976.
Probably had plastic strings on it.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm
Where'd
sure
you buy it?
Expensive.
Where'd you buy it?
Well, I don't know, probably TG&Y or Western Auto.
Yeah,
There wasn't no
yeah.
Walmart there.
Many years later, I used to complain. I complained about a lot of things, but I would complain that we were coming up, or when I was playing, it was hard to buy a good tennis racket. And good tennis rackets were pretty expensive beyond my, especially when I was really young, beyond my means. Later on in life, you could walk into a Kmart or a Walmart and get a decent, something decent. But back in the day, I think I bought one. The only one I could afford at Rosselli's Sporting Goods. That thing had a head on it about like this. It was tiny.
Yeah.
But it might have helped, man. When you learn to play with a tennis racket that's got about, that much size on
it tightened up your hand-eye coordination. I'll give you that.
That it did.
My wife and I actually played league tennis about 20 years ago.
League tennis.
Yes, dude. I was on a team and everything.
I'd pay money to see you play tennis. I would.
Well, I don't know that I could play now, but it was probably about $250 goes $300 racket that I had.
Nice.
Had it restrung a couple times.
Look at you.
Then I was in a match one time, in a doubles match, and I think I was aggravated with my wife. So I missed a hit, and I threw my racket, and it hit the top of the fence, and it got a big old dent in it.
You hit the top of the fence with you were serious about that throw.
Yeah. If I'd only been hitting that good.
Yeah, I don't know that
was my last match.
I don't know that it's a good idea to play, and this is nothing personal with anything. I don't think it's a good idea to play tennis with your wife or significant other. It's just another way of causing annoyance or friction or unneeded tension. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're better off playing against.
Right. Oh, I was a lot better playing against her, because then it was just, forget the doubles. Whereas
you can play exactly. And if it's not going, like if you're getting beat, okay, take it. You're getting beat. But if you're, and if you're considered, then you can at least keep it interesting when you're playing as a team. Well, I know we've said this before. I'm okay playing with a team. I am not real good playing anything doubles, 2-on, right? Because I'm either always mad at myself or mad at the guy I'm playing with.
Yeah, I'm sure I was the one messing up, and she was there for me to blame it on.
Well, there you go. So that's as much tennis as we've spoken about in 2 years. But congratulations to the 20-year-old kid the multi-millionaire.
Yeah.
Who won Wimbledon this morning, but not the most prestigious sporting event I've seen being played this week, but not the most interesting. I just saw this, and this is California. It's got California written all over it. Pulling it up here. Sacramento, city of Sacramento is hosting the 2023 Homeless World Cup.
What, something to benefit the homeless?
No. Not to benefit the homeless. This is a soccer match of homeless people. Yeah. Homeless World Cup. I thought it was a joke. It's
Are they going to
joke.
take breaks to shoot up?
It says the event, which is going to run from July 11th to the 15th. So that's coming up, right?
It might take that long to get
it's actually
done.
I think it's done now.
It's the 16th or 17th.
No, it said it's returning from a 3-year post-pandemic hiatus. So apparently they've done this in the past and has drawn teams representing 30 nations. 30 nations playing in men's, women's, and co-ed teams in a modified fast. Apparently, they said this is to change the image of homelessness. They want to help change the image of homelessness by getting homeless people playing soccer.
Where do they practice? Where do they get their gear?
Man, all the questions that pop up, and it's something about you need to qualify. You would have to have been homeless sometime in the past year, right? So,
but that could mean, I'm in between, apartments.
But that's my point. Where do you recruit? How do you recruit?
Yeah.
Like, man, I want to put together a Houston homeless soccer team.
Dude, you could probably put a big league together.
You just pull up to all these traffic lights and all these.
Yeah, I know where to recruit in Baton Rouge. I can guarantee you that.
Just pull on up there, Hey, let me see you kick a ball, man.
Yeah.
Can you put down that pipe?
Homeless people wouldn't. Soccer's a pretty brutal sport as far as the physicality of it.
It is.
I would just think homeless people, wouldn't be the best in shape. I don't know. I've never played a sport against a homeless person.
I've never raced a homeless person. I don't think I've ever had to run from one, thankfully. But there you go.
I'd pay to watch at least part of a match.
You would think, right? I don't think I'd want to see it in person. I don't think they could be playing the homeless World Cup down the street.
I don't think I want to be in that I like with other people. But I think watching, a living room full of guys, having a few, watching a homeless soccer match could be entertaining.
And I don't want to, right? I don't want to be disparaging on the stereotypical, right? I guess that's because when we think homeless in our area, I don't think these folks are playing soccer, but maybe. Who knows? But that seems
could be wrong. I would think, has ESPNW debuted yet?
What would W be?
For women, just a whole network for women's sports.
I thought they had. Do they have that?
Oh, they might. I just don't have it on my cable. I was going to say because they probably need some filler.
Oh, they should co-ed. Now that's one I'd want to see.
Just the women's tennis.
But that's
the women's soccer.
Homeless soccer. I would want to see that. That might be the match I'd want to see. The World Cup homeless co-ed soccer match.
Might stop in the middle for a little cuddling.
Stop. Well, you were telling me a little while ago that it's not a homeless situation, but you may be losing a regular tenant in your abode.
Yeah, my son who went to college in Alabama, so it's not like he's used to or not used to living away from here. Moved home last July when he got a job, what he called his first big boy job, but the job is remote. And 3 months, he said, and then when we'd argue, he'd say he's moving out, then because he didn't want to live with me. It's been a year. And we've talked about this some. It's hard to, you say, look, you're welcome to live here forever, but I want more for you than living upstairs at my house.
Mm-hmm.
You got a good job. yeah. So either pay me some money or get moved. No, I didn't say that. But yeah, I just wanted to encourage him to do something different.
Right.
And so, for whatever reason, he thinks he'd like to live in San Diego, and he's been there and checked it out and stuff. Not the political aspect that anybody would want. He just likes the climate there.
Well, it is a
so
nice climate.
yeah, don't know if he's going to do that or not. But the whole thing was, he's the type of guy who doesn't like to make decisions, so he doesn't make any.
Doesn't make decisions.
So about a month ago, he told me that he was thinking he was going to try to find a place, in Baton Rouge for 3 or 4 months if he could get a short-term lease, just to get used to living on his own again, to paying bills and stuff. And I said, all right, well, I wouldn't necessarily think that's the best idea.
You could pretend you're getting the bills and just take that money and put it aside. You could
Exactly.
hand them a bill, Juan.
Yeah,
You
he
could
pay me.
You could prorate a bill and say, here you go. Pay on this to the Juan Electric Company.
Yeah. Because then I'd ultimately just saved it and given it back to him.
Yeah.
But as much as you sit here and say, okay, yes, you got to get stuff going. You got to get stuff going. You wanted to move, starting on the weekend. So, he bought a couch off of Facebook Marketplace. So I rented a flatbed trailer or an enclosed U-Haul trailer, Friday it to go get it, and said, all right, I got it till 4:00 on Saturday. Let's get it going. Get up early. And then I said, okay, well, I probably, because a lot of times we do the podcast on Saturday. So I texted him at one point. I said, all right, here's the deal. I said, I'm not doing the podcast tomorrow. So got all day. I'm probably gonna try to sleep till 9. Then after that, whatever. He said, oh, I'm gonna do the same. So I'm downstairs doing stuff, and I hear stuff moving around. And so I think, oh, okay, he's packing up,
ready to go.
I want to get a couple things at Lowe's that he needed. About 11:30, I got tired of waiting. I walk upstairs. He's still in bed. And it's like, dude, I got this trailer till 4. Okay. You think I have nothing else to do in my life but sit around and wait for you?
You're preaching to the choir. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and that's the whole thing. You get all aggravated. You get aggravated at everything. No, but I'm giving my day to help you. How about you think about my schedule?
How about that?
Yeah, it takes me back. I had a boss one time, and people used to say, you can't care more than he does. And that's a good analogy for a boss in a company that, it's like, hey, if he don't care, why should I care? So I'm not doing it. The deal is, I sit down and say, well, I can't care more than he does about moving, but I've already paid for the trailer. And I know good and well, I could sit here all day long and say, well, screw it, go get your buddies. Because why am I helping you anyway?
So you rented a trailer from who? From who?
From U-Haul. Like $20.
Is that it? $20 to rent a
like a 5x8 trailer? Yeah, like to move a mattress, a couch, and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. And you rented it just to go get a couch?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So you had no purpose for it besides going?
No. And to move his bed from here.
So he has a. I'm sorry if I missed that. He has a place to move into now.
Yeah. He's in. He stayed there last night. After a lot of arguing and despite my wife's wonderful analysis of space, I couldn't fit a couch in the back of the Jeep. She thought I could.
Thought you could? Yeah. Well, I can probably find pictures on the internet of people doing some pretty knuckleheaded. You could tie it to the top.
Yeah,
but
I ain't doing that. So,
hey, out of curiosity, how much you paid for a couch on Facebook?
$25, man. That was his budget.
He bought a couch for $25.
That's right. It's a nice couch. The dude threw in a matching chair.
What?
Yes.
Who is selling furniture for? That's amazing.
He had it in an enclosed trailer in his yard, and he wants to get rid of the trailer. So it's just been sitting there.
Man alive.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
See, that's part of the stuff, because then I go to pick up a $25 sofa, And I'm sitting there saying, I don't know. I don't think I want to touch anything like that.
Yeah, that look, I'm not. I guess I'm saying I'm not judging, but I guess I'm kind of judging. I just know, like, really.
Yeah. So
All
when I
right,
went, one of the things I went by at Lowe's yesterday was like upholstery spray.
upholstery spray.
Yeah, to clean it and disinfect it. And
Well, yeah, but hey, so he's so was last night his first night?
yeah. So
Now how far away is he living from you right now?
probably 15 minutes.
About
15
15 minutes away.
Yeah. No
Paying
traffic.
rent. Place by himself.
Yeah.
What's the neighborhood like?
It's okay. It's out
Right.
by LSU. So
Okay. So paying, yeah. Hey man, like you said, you gotta step. Now San Diego, if he does move to San Diego, he'd be one of the few moving in that direction. Everybody else is
well, you
leaving
see, and
California.
I said, all right, man. You know, I've heard on the stories that they talk about, man, if you can, like, to rent a U-Haul out of
they
California
almost pay you.
is massively expensive, but
Right.
to rent one going back is not bad. So my thought was, if he does that, I would, yeah, we'd rent a U-Haul. I'd drive there with him, and then I'd fly back.
Okay.
But dude, it's like, $1,500-$1,800 to rent a U-Haul.
Seriously. Oh,
Not
okay.
if I bring it back, but then it's like, well, then I got to drive it back.
Man. So there you go. So you say does the place he worked for have an office or any location in San Diego? I know he's
No,
remote, but
no,
so
they're
he would
based
just
in, yeah.
he would just
They're,
choose San Diego because I can live anywhere and that's where I want to live.
yeah,
Okay. Friends there?
couple. Yeah.
Okay. All right. At least there's
Yeah.
that's that's hey, but you know what? Here's the deal. And it's annoying as all get out because we're the same way. Turn back time. If I was 22, 23, 24, whatever. Now it's easy to say now, hey, take your shot. Do what, hey, live your life. Do what you're gonna do. It's frustrating to be the old guys going, yeah, bro, but. Yeah, bro, but. I guarantee you, I got one hit. He's only here for a few weeks before he goes back to school and his job. But you joke about waking up. I promise you, I'm not going to give the time we're doing this, but it's oh yeah, we're well into the early afternoon.
Yeah.
I promise you, I got one sleeping over there.
Oh, I guarantee you, the boy, he's awake now because he texted me a little while ago. But you would think, okay, he's got to unpack. He's got more to move. That he's sleeping in the place that he's now raring to go. It's real.
Nah, not so much. Not so much.
Nah.
Well, and it's get my wife. I like to know many times in the past, I don't know, a few weeks. She gets on. I get on stuff and I start kind of barking. I don't know if I'm say barking advice, but saying no, you're not doing that. You're not doing. And she's, what were you doing when you were that age? That's her favorite thing. Well, what were you doing?
But here's what I say to that. I lived the life that, neither of my parents ever lived. That's not a good thing. That's not a bad thing.
Right.
It's just a thing. And not that I lived some extravagant lifestyle, but I assure you, my parents stayed home until they got married. My sister stayed home until she got married. The thought of, moving out or just doing stuff outside of Assumption Parish seemed like I was trying to be some worldly guy.
Yeah.
And granted, they do things a lot differently than I did, but I think it's at least you can relate the experience and the whole life experience. And we've talked about this. It's there's no sense of, all right, this is going to take me an hour to do, and I got to get done by 1. I'll start at noon because certainly it'll go perfectly.
1,000%. Or my point is, there are things like mistakes I think I made, or right. Why you got to make the same? I'm not. You don't do it to do just like, hey, don't do that. Doesn't work out well, and it's like, yeah, you can learn a lesson. So back in, I got the younger one back in here, and he tells a couple nights ago, gonna go see a friend here close, not far. Fantastic, great. You give the obligatory, don't drink, don't, or if you do, whatever,
Right.
and you're not going to be too late, right? Don't be too late. No, not be too late.
I'd say make good choices.
Yeah, you're not gonna be too late. Got in at about 3 in the morning. So maybe we have a different perspective on late. And I'll be honest, I woke up around 2 in the morning, did the quick, I'm kind of like, oh, I wonder if he got home. No, shoot a text. Hey, you sleeping there? Because you know how it is. I'm just, my mom used to be that way. We said your mom used to be that way. Just let me know when you get back.
Yeah.
Right. That's the last thing to check off my day is everybody who's supposed to be in my house is in my house. And, well, I'm good.
Yeah, I've told you that before. I got home at 2:30 one time, and my dad swore and be danged up and down that there was no way I was at a nightclub that late.
Yeah.
That there's no way it was open that late. I said, call him. It's still open.
And this time it turns out he had other friends. It wasn't just hanging out with a guy. He had other friends. So little context, I went, oh, okay, I see but do you ever get this? And again, it's a parenting thing where you ask a question and they give an answer, but it's not really the answer to what you ask.
No. Why? Yeah, right? It's the whole, why do you need to know? Wait.
I didn't ask if you were okay so much as I asked, are you sleeping there? Yeah, I'm okay. That's because that doesn't put me right. But there you go.
Oh no! Last night when he left, he was going to have his birthday, and they were going to dinner. And so I said, "Hey, once y'all go out, let me know when you get back to the apartment, and just your first night there, let me know you're settled."
Yeah, let me know. Yeah.
What? Just let me know you're settled in. Why? And I said, I don't know. Make me sleep better.
Yeah, right. How about it? What if it's late? Okay.
I don't care.
Just like my mom used to tell me, don't matter what time.
Yeah.
Just come in.
I said, I may not even wake up. Shoot me a text. And at some point tonight, I'll, wake up to go pee. And I'll look at my phone.
And if you realize the brownie points you could earn, but apparently he's not worried about brownie points. Mine's not really either, right? So you're still doing it anyway. I don't need brownie points.
Well, I find much of the way that they behave is like, people, go off on the police when something, when they do something wrong. And it was yesterday, because he was all aggravated that I was aggravated. And I said, stop judging my reaction, because without an action that you did or didn't do, I wouldn't have a reaction.
Right. You're getting deep.
Yeah.
you got no right to react to my reaction, bro.
Yeah. You don't have anything to do? Okay, yeah, right.
Started with, there you go.
And I said, if I don't, I'd like to enjoy doing nothing instead of wondering when I'm going to go with you.
Yeah, we had a good day yesterday. Pretty busy day, but I had the whole crew. This is either funny or sad family moment. We got the whole crew together, including my father, my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law. We went to Bruiseology. Bruiseology at the Houston Museum of Natural
Bruise,
Science.
not as in BRUISE. Bruise, like a blue mark on your leg.
No. Okay, hang on a sec, man. My head wasn't functioning there. No, Bruiseology as in beer, as in it's an event they have in at the museum once a year. First time I've been.
Why at a museum?
Because it's big, and I guess people like doing that. It's pretty good marketing to say it's like your old field trips, except with beer. Mm-hmm. And there were 50-something brewers there, and 190-something different beers, all spread out throughout the museum. And it was interesting. It was fun. I can't tell you how many we had. They give you, you got to get in, and we had early admission, which I didn't think was a big deal, but it turns out, you want to get that first hour before the hordes show up. But just a little glass, you walk around and you talk to the people and you try whatever it is. And it's, I was smiling the whole time because it's kind of fun. And once it gets going, but there's big crowds. But when you first start, you're worried about getting your money's worth. Because it's
back in the day, pay one price. Just a lot more expensive.
It's like a 5 or 6 ounce pour in the little glass they give you. So you hand it to and they pour it, and you kind of look funny if they only put maybe half or 3/4 of a pour. And Man, you're an hour into that. You telling people
can't
you
say it can't say on the top it off, bro.
some did. It's like you could tell some either didn't work for the brewery where they didn't know what they were doing, and they would fill them up. And don't get me wrong, even filled up, it's only 5 ounces, 6 ounces,
Yeah.
but that's like half a beer. And most of these beers had stronger alcohol content, or some of them had stronger alcohol content
Yeah,
than.
if you have 50 of those.
Well, I think some people do. I mean, I personally didn't, but you're about an hour into this, and I was joking with my family about how it changes. How when you first get here, it's like, hey, you want them filling it up. You're like an hour and a half into this. You're handing them this little cup already, saying, "No, half's good, half's good. Just give me, just give me a touch." And then you try some that after a while, I got to be honest, after your 9th, 10th, 11th sampling,
It all tastes the same.
it doesn't taste the same, but you sort of like, well, I like that one and I don't care for this one. And the old Bayou guy, but you're not going to waste any beer. You're going to not, right? You'll, but then you realize they got garbage cans everywhere and they just dump it out. And I said that halfway through the night. I felt bad for any maintenance person working the Houston Museum. Man, let me tell you, they're going to be dragging. They're going to be dragging those.
Then you're gonna rip it and it's gonna smell.
Dude, I don't even. Several people were saying, I can't believe they're letting them do this in a museum. And there's a King Tut exhibit there right now.
So could you drink in where the exhibits were?
So they made you, yes, man. You're walking around the dinosaur exhibits, and they got beer things set up, and the only one I think they kept you from, you could keep your cup, but you couldn't have anything in it, was for the King Tut portion, which was kind of bizarre to me because it was all behind glass anyway. It wasn't, but that was an interesting dynamic.
Yeah.
Knocking back a bunch of beer, walking around a museum. And then you get to the point of, and we tapped out. It thing went to 11 o'clock.
Wow.
We started at 7. We got there at 7. We got there early, too early, because parking was going to be bad. And that's why I want to say, so 95.32% of the time, cops are great. Sometimes they're not. It's hot. It was 100. It's been 100 degrees every day here in Houston for a week, and we're gonna have at least the same things. And it's brutally hot, especially late afternoon, hottest part of the day. We get there early. They're still setting up inside the museum, and there's this big lobby area, and some people were coming in, and it's air conditioned, so we're just hanging out there. People walking around, and then this cop, I'm not gonna give his name. I kind of forgot it actually, but he's from Fort Bend, which bothers me. That's my county. Decides they let y'all in too early. I'm sorry, I don't know who let y'all in, but we're going to need everybody out of here. We're going to, and so you're going from at least air conditioning, you're glad that you got there early, to, bro, really? You're going to make the 100-something, 200 people in here, made us all walk outside. And then we're standing, we had the doors open. So a little bit of air conditioning hitting us. They could shut the door. And I was standing there thinking, that cop's just mad, because he has to work tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you're in there. It's probably less effort to just say, okay, you're not supposed to be in here, but I'm going to be cool. So just make sure you're cool.
Just exactly. Just get away from the booths. Let people set up. Show, and people would. But no, this guy had to flex. So then all of a sudden you're out there 10, 15 minutes, and we found some shade, but it's hot. And then somebody from the museum came in and said, we realize it's pretty hot, so we're going to let you guys back. I was just like, we just wanted to make y'all go outside and sweat for a little bit to make you appreciate more.
Yeah, you'll be thirstier when you come in.
But I was amazed at, and I kept thinking about different dynamics. So you've got probably 500, 600 people total in there. It's a big place, drinking beer. I say it's like free beer. You paid a pretty good amount for the ticket. Everybody's happy. Nobody fussing. Nobody fighting. Nobody cutting lines. And I was thinking, you could have never pulled off something like this at the Cutoff Youth Center back in the day. Like if you'd have had, man, I'm going to have the first Bayou Lafourche Bruiseology Summit at the Cutoff Youth Center. We're gonna have Coors Light, Miller Light. We were gonna have Bud Light, but too many fights.
But
Right. Man, that'd have been a fight 30 to 45 minutes
before
into
you got
it.
walk in the door.
30 to 45 minutes into it.
Because people would have been drinking outside.
We were there when it first started, and two big guys standing. And sometimes you didn't know where the line was. So we were kind of standing there, and my younger son was with me. And I think it was just him, maybe somebody else. And I wasn't sure where the line is. And I just did one of these. I don't know that I can. I said, I'm trying to find the end of the line. And one of the big guys kind of laughed. He says, yeah, I don't know. Just stand and move. Right. Just sort of. And I said, yeah, I don't want to cut in front of you because I don't think I can take you. And he laughed. Well, I'm not as young as I used to be. And then I pointed him at my son. I said, that's why I brought him. I said, man, can you take him? And I'm joking. And I'm totally like, that's what we do. That's what guys of our age and our background do. Yeah. We joke with people. And my son kind of gave a nervous laugh and looked at me, looked at him saying, I don't want to fight this guy. And I'm like, I'm not. And the guy
size him up.
And the guy's laughing. I told him, I said, man, if you're going to look like Tarzan, you need to be ready.
That's right, man. You got to defend Jane.
I said, it's not. That's what I said. I said, I paid for your ticket to be here. You're not going to take this guy out for me. And it's so funny. Maybe it's a generational thing. He is
embarrassed to no end.
Probably a little embarrassed, but also just right. Just kind of like, can't believe you're doing this. And we played around a little bit and we're walking out. I told him, I said, let me give you a little advice. That's what I do. I give advice. I said, you make fun and be friendly with the biggest son of a guns you can find in the place. Right? Obviously joking. You want that guy to be cool. If anything breaks out, he ain't coming. We say I did that several times. Some big, scary looking dudes.
Another thing is, you bought tickets for your whole family, I'm sure. Like, you think I'm gonna get in a fight outside and not get to go in?
No, this was inside.
Oh,
this was inside at one of the booths, And it's also a little coaching I give him too. It's like, man, you don't look. You see, I never had that. I'm not a big guy, right? I was never that guy standing in a bar or at a fair or whatever that you would size up and say, I don't think I want to take that guy, right? My younger son kind of is. He's he looks like he can. Yeah, he looks like he could wrestle. He looks like he could. He can
handle himself.
He literally can handle himself. Got the hair, got the Tarzan look going. And my thing is, if you're going to have that look, you don't really have to get in many arguments. You don't.
No, like, let me tell you something. My mouth got me out of more fights
for sure
than it ever got me in.
For sure.
Because I was more brave to act like I would fight than I was to fight.
Yes. And that's always having enough common sense to realize it's like playing poker. Yeah. Okay, everybody's just going to be puffed up right here. And when you run into a psycho, right? It's like, right. You never know I was going to say, you never know who's a psycho. But 1982, 83, South Lafourche, Cutoff Youth Center Fair. About 75% were psychos.
Yeah, you had it was a pretty good probability you'd run in at least one.
Yeah, getting into a fight that wasn't plan C for a lot of these guys.
Man. It's winning the fight was their plan. It was plan A, beating the snot out of somebody.
Man, you just have to learn along the way. That's how you survive. That's how. See, in the overall scheme of things, people, men, boys, men, women too, but men, right? It's all about the passing on your genes, right? That you're okay, and part of that maybe God or the Creator gave you strength. Maybe He gave you agility. Maybe He gave you and maybe He gave you the smarts to avoid getting taken out.
Yeah. I think part of the problem was, or the difference between now and then, now you could whip one dude's butt and, before you wipe the sweat off your brow, the video of that is all over the internet. So that has given you the cred. Back then, the story didn't last a week. So you had to go out and redo it. repeat that.
You were apparently on the better end of who was doing the whipping. I think part of the problem.
I hadn't gotten many fights. I think I got in one bar fight in my life.
Well, I don't. I've been adjacent. I don't know necessarily I've been a participant of.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been where it's mano a mano. There's the circle around you. Right. The only time you ever want to do that is back in our day in school. Because back in our day in school, that wasn't going to go very long.
Right.
It wasn't. Again, it's one of the things I think that has fallen apart. One of the problems with the way things are in our day, there were many men, and I'm not saying there weren't women that can't break up fights. I get it. They got some tough folks out there. Maybe they can. But back in our day, it was typically the coaches. And we had a couple along the way that I think they loved nothing more. Right? They got nothing better to do than to break up a fight in a pretty aggressive manner. So that's when you could talk and you could square off and do all this. Because those fights were not gonna go.
Man. No, you better hit first because soon it's gonna be over.
It was the meet me after school crew. That's no. That's not the one. And today, here's the other issue is that people seem more interested in filming stuff than in stopping stuff and egging things on. And it's all that's all ridiculous.
They seem more interested in filming it than stopping it or getting away. I've seen videos, it's like across the street, somebody shooting somebody, and I'm just sitting. It's like, dude, if I see somebody with a gun and it's not me, I think I'm pretty much leaving before I take out my phone.
I think they imagine they're on TV. They're looking at it through a screen. Yeah. So they just imagine they must be on TV. No, it's not how it, and somewhere along the way, we started off this podcast. I was talking about my sport growing up was tennis. That's what I spent all my time doing and playing. And right. They got now with MMA and these people tend to be a little more efficient at hurting you.
Yeah. A little more efficient and taking it to the next level. Not just one and done. All right, I punched you now. I'm serious.
No, man, it's sweeping legs and
choking people out.
Choking people out. Like, what's that? So which is why I recommend to everybody stay armed. Legally. Of
course.
Obviously.
Of course. So
obviously.
Yeah, I'm gonna take it back to beer for a minute. So my wife's out of town and my daughter. She's got a swim meet in Shreveport, and I didn't go this week, and this is the best meet she's had in a while. So I responded to my wife last night. I said, well, maybe it's me. And my wife's response was, I don't think so. And I said, well, thanks for that confidence in your response. I was just throwing that out there.
She was like, come to think of it, it has been a little less stressful. And
but anyway, so when they're out of town, I tend to watch shows that they wouldn't watch. And so I was watching an episode of The Food That Built America.
On
the History Channel.
I have seen some of those shows. They're pretty good.
And I watched one on beer. And I didn't realize that the reason that Milwaukee became in the early days of the beer capital of the United States was because that Germans were the first big beer drinkers in the United States. And there were a lot of Germans in Milwaukee. But they drank ale, and their ingredients didn't last long, or it didn't have shelf life. So that's number one. That's why they drank it hot. Because you couldn't refrigerate it.
Right.
But then, more and more people wanted, or I guess Americans wanted, to drink cold beer. Well, Milwaukee also, you could chill beer because they had, a lot of freezing temperatures. So they, made ice out of frozen lakes, I guess.
Okay.
But in order to be able to ship beer, it had to be able to stay refrigerated and have shelf life. So Schlitz and Pabst were the first beer makers to create I guess, a form of barley that was heat resistant or it could stay cold longer. And I don't know, it could travel well, put
Right.
it that way.
Right.
So that's how beer started in the United States, becoming a nationwide industry. So they were the first big brewers of beer.
Yet again, just slap that big old educational stamp
Right. Right.
on the Dave and Juan podcast. And thank you to
Neither
Foods.
neither beers that I would, choose to drink today. I have drank my share of Schlitz as a young man.
I it's not made anymore, is it?
I
don't think it is.
Pabst bought Schlitz and they make it in some version, but it's not, there's no more of the Schlitz Brewing Company.
Well, guys of our age remember the old Schlitz
Yeah.
cans. Back when a can was a can.
Yeah, what you think of beers, think of Schlitz. I
I'm
think
not sure what it was, but
tag.
you could dang near stand on a can.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
There wasn't no shotgun in a Schlitz because you wasn't busting a hole in that can.
No, and back when Animal House came out, that was one of the scenes. It was a kind of a joke scene where Belushi kind of crushes a beer can on his head. Well, in the day, a lot of the cans still had some thickness in them. You mess yourself up trying to crush a beer can on your head back in those days.
So speaking of Animal House, the guy who was a smart guy, I think it was his name Otter. I don't know, the smart guy in the fraternity. My wife watches this show, Virgin River.
Never heard it.
He is, and I've watched it with her. He plays an old doctor on the show, which, look it up. The dude, I when I stare at him and realize that it's him, I know it's him.
It's Tim, what's his name?
Tim Matheson.
I think that's the one, right? He played Otter.
Yeah.
Gentlemen,
now
we are
up,
not going to stand here and let you run down the United States of America. Let's go.
But when you get a chance, look up Doc on Virgin River, and that's him. Which, like I said, I've seen that 4 seasons of that show with my wife.
Well, actors do tend to turn to hang around when they show up in other.
But it just doesn't look like him. You wouldn't think it's him.
Have you ever watched the beginning of this podcast when they show a picture of you and me in college?
Yes, and I look great. Had hair, had abs.
You're right. You forget. I mentioned that last week, and I thought about it after. When you meet, you don't. Now, some mornings you feel older than you are, but a lot of times you don't. I don't know. Our brains are stuck somewhere. We feel like your 20s or 30s, or and then so you run into other people who are your age, and you feel like you're talking to an old guy. Yeah, I'm like, man, what am I doing hanging out with this old guy?
There's this girl at work that I've gotten to be friends with. She's 25, 26. Which amazes me that her and I just have random conversations, or more that she's willing to have random conversations with me than I am to have random conversations with her. And I told her the other day, I said, I found out why we get along. I said, because back when I was your age, I was the coolest guy in the room, no matter what the room I was in, no matter what room I was in.
Whenever Dave wasn't here, I was.
And I said, you're probably the coolest person here. So I am reflecting back to when I was cool. Just by being friends with you.
One of the first signs that you're not cool anymore is when you got a reference.
Yeah. Back when I was.
Hey, are we the cool kids now? All right. I wish last night I would have had, that's when I wish I would have run tape just to have this couple. So walking around this massive, around the Houston Museum of Natural Science, I think that's the name of it. It's a massive place. Okay, so different floors, and I'm walking by and I forget which beer I have in my hand because I lost count. And this guy, smallish guy, not big. I want to say he had a shaved head, or maybe I'm forgetting exactly what he looked like. And standing next to his wife, and she was. They look like a fun couple. They look like, right? And I was just looking at a place to put my beer down to get something, and the guys, no, what? Do it right here. And I'm like, well, British accent. And so the guy's originally from Scotland. So they live in, and that's who you want to talk to.
I just want to tell you that British accent that you did was on point.
I don't even know what that was, but that was, well, here's the deal. If I take a Scottish accent, it's like Mike Myers did, who was that fat guy. Darn it.
No recollection.
They call it, it was called Fat Bass. I don't want to curse it, but anyway, so all right. I'd have to hear it, but here's where it was funny. So he's from Scotland, right? Yeah, Scotland. And his wife was light complected. She might even have been redheaded, right? She's from Ohio or something. And I told her as we start talking, I said, you know, you're picking up his accent, right? And she was laughing. She goes, that's what I've been telling him. But the reason she sounded like him is her favorite expression when I would start talking about certain beers, and they were loving me because I was telling them, oh no, go here and ask for this one, because they like dark beers like I do. So I was sort of giving them the heads up. And her favorite expression was bleep, yeah. And when she wasn't saying bleep, right, she was dropping the F-bomb just like saying good morning, right? Like excited and with a slight Scottish twang to it, because apparently that must be her husband's favorite
go-to line.
That's right. She said go-to line. So after about I explained something about the fifth time, she went, oh, bleep, yeah. That's what I told her. I said, well, I'm not so sure you got his accent as much as you got that phrase.
Yeah.
But that's a Scottish sounding bleep, yeah.
Kind of looks like she's from out that way.
It worked. Well, I could see how they got together, right? We spent a lovely 5 minutes chatting and bid them adieu, and they went off to follow my my recommendations, and that's what I was thinking. That's what
they thought you were the coolest guy in the room.
Well, correctly, probably.
Yeah,
I don't know. There's a lot of cool guys.
My wife and I probably got together. I think my wife thought I was the coolest guy, because she had probably never been around anybody that was cool in her entire life. But I'm just thinking about that. So we used to go to Saints season tickets. We had Saints season tickets, and we'd go to the games and stuff. And so we'd pop in that's when you could safely walk around the French Quarter. We'd go to a bar where Peter Torito was working. He was the guy.
Man, Pete.
He was working the stage, and he would say my name from the stage.
Oh,
and she thought that was the end all, be all.
Shout out to Pete Torito, who is at that same place right now.
Oh yeah,
pretty sure.
Yeah.
Hey, we talked about him in a previous podcast. I know he's out there. We go back and forth on Facebook every now and then. Shout out, Pete. What is it? The Famous Door?
He's at the Famous Door.
At the Famous Door in the French Quarter, y'all.
So by him speaking my name into a microphone helped me land my wife, because she thought that I was cool because of that.
Well, I wasn't with my wife. I had my wife at the time, but the time I told him I was gonna, I walked in there, and I mean, I wasn't in there 10 seconds, and I hear from the back, is that Dave Martin? There might have been 7 people in the bar when I walked in there, so it was not a.
It's all right, but you felt cool.
There you go. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Drinks are on Pete. That's but so I at the end of the day, I guess I would I'd recommend it. And it's also a sign of age when you tap out before it's over. For a couple reasons. One, you're looking around saying, all right, does anybody need any more? Seriously. Like we started weaning toward the end, and my wife said she's gonna be a designated driver. And I don't know if you ever get into that conversation with your wife, if you go somewhere, if both of you have had, a drink or two or whatever, now she normally drives, right? Don't you say that? Normally the two of you.
Well, not if it's dark. I'll drive at night.
Not if it's dark. Okay. So my wife and I do that, but then I get into the competition, not the competition, but the discussion of, okay, I know you had less than me, but
you can handle less than me.
Yeah, you don't want to typically go there, but it's like, and I can't look at my sons because my older one is happy as he's good. There are certain people that you just want to be around them when they have just a few, because man, they're happy as all. He's normally a happy guy anyway. He's just good to go.
Happy.
And the only one that we would have, if stayed till the end with was my younger, who, you know,
He could probably just handle it better.
well, maybe so. Sadly, maybe so. But we did that. I remember back in the young days. He just right when we're walking out there, he got one for the road. Now for the road, we weren't going to bring it in the car, but right, I was done. We were all done, but he won for I guess that long.
Yeah, had a couple blocks to walk.
No, we had like 50 yards to walk back.
There you go.
Okay.
You know, it's only 4 or 5 ounces.
Trying to walk out, right? The security people said, "Sorry, you can't take anything. Can't take anything out." Most folks would have said, "Oh, all right, dump it." No, he dumped it.
Nah, man. Yeah,
He
dumped
dumped
in
it.
his mouth, huh?
That he did. That he did. And I went, and then I looked at the cop and said, "He's my designated driver. He's good." He's again, humor, man. You got to keep. Might have been the 17th time that guy heard that joke that night, but there you go.
But still, I'm gonna throw it out there.
But you guys, a couple reasons you want to leave early. You want to leave early because, all right, you got to know. One of my favorite lines is, "Hey, let's stop chasing fun. Stop chasing fun." We had fun. I think we took a survey. Everybody on the
know when to make the exit.
If I was graphing this night, it'd be like, man, started, yeah, and ball week. It's fun. Everybody giggles. We did whatever. But I would say that graph's about
right. You want to leave before the trend dips.
Yes, the trend, it's beginning, it's plateaued, and it's going to dip. And then toward the end, it doesn't just dip, it plummets. And then you want to get out of there.
You want to know how to recognize a plateau.
That's right. You're at the plateau. Now's the time to go because, and the other thing that I know is coming is I'm in a museum with hundreds of drunk people.
Right. They'll all leave at the same time.
We're all going to be getting on the road trying to get out of this parking garage at the same time. You want to be, right? You want to be slightly ahead of the posse on the way out of that thing.
And when's the cops going to be looking for people? When they're all exiting.
Now,
that was my rationale when I spoke at the Thibodaux City Council meeting against putting in or enacting a 2:00 curfew in Thibodaux.
I love that you were that. You were the spokesperson.
Yeah, said you're basically putting all the drunk people on the road at the same time. I don't know about you. That doesn't sound like a good idea. Personally, I'd like a couple hours to sober up in the bar before I hit the road.
Because you know that's what you were doing.
Right? Exactly.
Young days we didn't. You know, that's the and one of the advantages, there are very few advantages to getting old. Very few. Maybe a little wisdom along the way. But I am there. There were times, again, in those old days where 3 o'clock, 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, you're getting another beer.
Right.
You're drinking it, right? You're not, you're and now, I don't know if it's just internal or volume wise or whatever, but I'm kind of proud of myself that I've got that. And maybe I got to a point in my life where I'm okay dumping out something. Like I do that a lot. Like, you're talking, having fun, doing whatever. Oh yeah, sure. And then, you 2 sips into that beer and you go, this was a bad idea. This is not, yeah. All right.
The same thing. If they come to the table and say, you want another beer? And I've still got a quarter of a beer left, I'm not going to chug the quarter of that beer. I'll say, yeah, go ahead and bring me a cold and take that one.
Yeah. Oh, now that's different. That's a different, scenario. I'm trying to think of the last time I ever got into that one, but,
Well, I knew the guy who remember the Colonel's Retreat, or he lived near the same apartment complex I lived in. And he did the math, or he was a good businessman. He said, for any time you do pay one price, that, to make money on that, people have to drink an average of 4 drinks, or buy an average of 4 drinks when pay one price started or stops. So pay one price typically stopped at 1. So that meant you had to stay there long enough to have another 4 drinks.
Oh, you mean back in the day when we were in college at the Colonel's Retreat?
Yeah.
You mean people stay? I didn't even.
Dude, I stayed. I bought me some drinks after.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't know that I did. Maybe we did. I don't remember that.
But I also had the philosophy that, I could go in and throw away 3 or 4 early on because I wanted to be drinking to the plus side.
It's all a numbers game. That was always the thing. Always a thing. You look at the pay one price and you always figured they were losing money on most guys walking in. They were making money on most of the girls walking in. right?
And most of the
And
guys were walking in because most of the girls were there.
right. And you ever do this in the bar where you just have a friend or a girl, or whatever, and you'd have them get you a beer because the bartenders were not gonna right? They can talk all they want about prejudice. Let me tell you something. Back in the day, in the early '80s, pay one price at the Colonel's Retreat.
Yeah.
Cute girls got served faster than us idiots.
Always. Yeah, that's how you got served, man. It was a strategy. Say, hey, you grab me a free drink now, I'll buy you one later.
I didn't even know did they try. Maybe I did. I not.
Yeah, it ended at some point.
Yeah, I don't think anybody does pay one price anymore, do they? I mean,
Well,
that's
no, because you can't. They do happy hour, but because the bar's closed now, yeah, you'd have to stay open till.
yeah. I can't even.
Selling.
I can honestly say I don't know what that
afterwards.
scene is. I can honestly say I don't know. I don't know what the inside of a quote unquote nightclub looks like anymore. No, I wouldn't know.
Dude, I don't know. I barely know what the other side of 10 o'clock looks like.
Hey, again, and yet you're having a conversation with the young lady at your office about being the coolest person there.
That's right. I said I used to be, not now.
I wish I could go to bed before 10 o'clock sometime. I don't. Maybe I don't. I don't know. I'm wired differently that way.
Sometimes at 8:30, I said, "All right, man, I got to make it another hour. Just got to make it another hour."
Really? Sometimes I feel pretty good these days when if I don't have anything work like I got some work I got to get done today. So it's going to be a kind of a late night for me. But yeah, just like, oh man, if I go to bed right now, like 10:30ish, for me that's I can lay around, maybe listen to some stuff. You know, my wife's usually sleeping, so it's like, all right. So I mean,
I stayed up till 11 last night because I was rewatching I started rewatching The Sopranos yesterday.
Oh, nice. But you're in the house by yourself.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Do you ever notice when you by yourself that I say by yourself, meaning there's by yourself when your wife's not around, because that's usually the person you take up the most time with. And then by yourself, you have a soul in the house.
Yeah, you couldn't talk to anybody if you wanted to.
Just you. It's just you. And it seems like there's so much more time. Right? You know, it's not really, but you just, because you're not worried about what's going on here. What do I need? You just, but the flip side of that is I don't see, and people do it. Those of you out there that live alone or by choice or by choice, or you got nobody who wants to hang with you. It does get boring though, man. I mean, right?
Yeah.
You don't.
And I'm just telling you, man, I got one Diet Dr. Pepper left. What time for them to get home?
Did you call? Did you call your wife on the way in?
Yeah, I said, "What time y'all leaving today?" Yeah. Oh man, you're not get home till like 9. I might, have to go get one somewhere.
So I woke up this morning and I did a lot of grilling last week just because I got my younger back here for the week, and I'll typically grill a bunch of stuff, bunch of meat, and that'll sort of satisfy the wolves for a few days. And but I woke up this morning and when you get a cup of coffee, my wife said, I feel like a hamburger. And part of me is like, well, I think we still have some grilled but she wanted to make. Well, if I make them, will you grill them? I'm like, well, all right. So she actually went to the store and, I got out of the habit of making my own hamburgers, man. Now I'll buy a sleeve. I'll go to, right. Cause it's the work. Do you ever make your own hamburgers?
We have, but recently, because of where I work, we can buy, I think the pre-made patties, at wholesale prices.
Oh, well, wholesale. I get them. I get to get at Sam's or HEB, but I get, but she went by the ground meat and I did chopped up the onions and the whatever. She did man, big old. And I'm like, yeah, it's so funny. She's thinking it's bad. Hey, women, I know I've said this before. Those of you that deal with this, if grilling was work, men wouldn't do it. Okay. Right. Cause it doesn't really, it's cooking, but it's a cool kind of cooking.
Outside, just fire.
Yeah, fired up the grill. That you have a TV outside, put on the Wimbledon a little bit. Now it's and that's all she wanted me to do is just grill these massive. She made meatloaf.
So she made the patties. You're just heating them up.
Yeah, I'm no more than heating them up, man. I'm putting that.
I know, but it's not like you're.
I didn't have to play with the grill. Exactly. And was interesting.
Get your hand nasty.
So I'm doing that this morning. It's about 11:15 in the morning. I'm grilling outside with a cup of coffee. I'm not used to grilling with a cup of coffee. That's part of the grill thing. It's like, you're drinking a beer, God bless America. Doing it with a cup of coffee was a little bit different this morning, but they came out. And then after she asked me, and they were good. It was good. She asked me, but a little bit too much onion, just a little bit too much onion, right? You put too much onion in a hamburger and it tastes like meatloaf. Now, don't get me wrong. Meatloaf is good, right?
Bro, my mom used to throw a little liquid crab oil into meatloaf. Whew, that was good.
Liquid crab oil into meatloaf.
Into
Get out of it.
meatloaf. Bro, a little extra kick in there.
Crab oil in meatloaf.
Yeah.
Huh. That might be one
Yeah, just a little bit.
I don't make meatloaf though. Like I said, today was just accidentally these hamburgers were more meatloafy.
Throw in your meat in your burgers, man. Might be good.
I could see it. Crab ball. All right. Well, there you
Bro,
go.
I had
But anyway,
lunch. I'm hungry.
yeah. But then she asked me, how were they? And you don't want to really be honest. It's like she did all the work, so it's sort of like I don't know. It's not a critique. It's just they're good.
You
They're
wait
just
till
not
next time. You wait till next time and say, hey, throw a little bit less onion in there last time. I
Oh, you
liked
know
it.
what? I believe in honesty. I just said, yeah, they're good. There might have a little too much onion in there.
Yeah, see, I can't be honest because
And she agreed. No, she
I
agreed.
got
She
to,
goes, that's
yeah.
what I thought. That's what I thought. I said, it tastes like meatloaf. She went, it does taste like meatloaf. And I think I'm saying meatloaf is good. I mean, she's what she said. We ought to have some mashed potatoes instead of the French fries she made. We ought to have mashed
Yeah,
potatoes.
you
Yeah,
just don't
that would
necessarily
be.
eat it on the bun.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And cheese in there and everything. That's good, man. Like I said, God bless America. Grilling with a cup of coffee in my hand today. But the only thing I jotted down was interesting was I saw this week that the state of Arizona has I don't know why this popped up. You can get personalized license plate, obviously, but a lot of times a lot of states have. You can get what you support and
Yeah,
various
like
things
here
on-
you can get the Saints license plate or Save
Right.
the Black Bear.
something like that. Well, in Arizona, you can get an Alice Cooper license plate. Like Alice, he is from Arizona. He's from Arizona.
But I'll be honest, I never did understand
Allure of Alice
the
Cooper.
the long-term attraction because he's still like in commercials and stuff. I mean, you
He
got your
is.
schools out for summer.
Right. Schools out, which is, that's iconic.
Right, that's about all I know.
He had
He wore the eyeshadow, the dark eyes and that top hat.
what was hang on a sec, because
Walked
now
around with some snakes.
now I feel bad because you and I were in radio. Of course, Alice Cooper was pretty much done. And I say done. He was not very popular when
He was like cultish, I guess, or had that loyal following.
Right. He's 75 years old, by the way. So he did Schools Out, right? I'm 18. I don't know that right. I'm 18. He did have one that came back in 89, I guess was around our time, called Poison. It lives in like poison. I do remember that song. But yeah, he was just but anyway, very good marketing, iconic. But you get his license plate with, and I thought, wow, I guess he's a bigger deal than I thought. And I was thinking, who would we like? What famous person from Louisiana would you put on? I don't
Randy
know.
Jackson, bro.
Randy Jackson. You'd have to put the name because nobody would know who poor Randy is.
Yeah, what they think Randy Jackson from American Idol.
No, we're talking from Zebra.
Yeah,
We're talking from Zebra, bro. A Halifax, maybe.
Halifax. You could get. Yeah, you could go Louis Armstrong would be, or like some of those guys would be the.
I guess he could.
The easy one, Dr. John.
Yeah, but that's more New Orleans, I guess. Yeah,
Aaron Neville.
Bobby Hebert.
Bobby Hebert. That's true. If you're not gonna go musician,
You can put Bobby up there. I bet you Edwin
Bobby.
Edwards. I bet you if you offered. I bet you if the state of Louisiana,
EWE.
right, if they offered an Edwin Edwards license plate, I think they'd sell a lot of them.
You'd have a lot. I bet. John Alario, the husband of the widow of Edwin Edwards.
Hey, I don't
have one.
Don't keep up with all that, but I don't know.
We don't have a lot of great musicians. I don't know. Better than Ezra. Yeah. I don't know.
I think the leader in the clubhouse is Halifax.
Halifax.
The original. Go find that Lafourche Gazette picture of half of them without shirts on, standing, I guess, in the bayou.
Yeah. Probably, the other half had overalls on without a shirt and a bandana.
There you go.
in the neck.
That's a good look. To this day, there was a guy last night at the beer place. I swear to you, man. He walks by. Dude, he's about 6'2", pretty wide. He had on overalls with no shirt, and the dude was fuzzy. You ever know these guys that are fuzzy? I mean, they got hair on their shoulders.
Grizzly Adams, a wrestler, not Grizzly Adams.
On their back.
Yeah.
Grizzly Smith?
Grizzly Smith was a wrestler. Grizzly Adams was a TV show.
Dude was fuzzy, man. Beard. He looked like he come out the stick. I'm like this guy, and he walks by. He looked good moving with somebody else. He walks by, and I told my son, because it wasn't that much longer after I joked with these two big guys. I looked and said, "That's not a guy you want to fight." You notice I'm not even going to joke with that guy.
Right. He's hoping somebody dares tells him that joke.
Let's circle back to knowing the difference between who you can have fun with, who you can bluff, and who's a freaking psycho. That guy's got psycho vibe. But there you go. Hey, so it's been a very educational podcast, Juan. Right. I think we've
lots of beer, guys who you do and don't mess with.
And that's so that said, you know what? Let's push the button. Get on out of here. See, hopefully the stuff stuck to the magical mystery tape up in the sky.
Tape. Yeah.
Hey, y'all, if you want to reach us, we ain't hard to find. It's Dave and Juan at protonmail.com.
Baby. That's where we're at. And if you're here right now, that's where else we are.
You can comment on stuff. You can we're not, you found us before, you find us again. We're not that hard to get. As always, it ain't a suggestion. It's not a hint. We're not subtly implying anything. Y'all, if you checked in, you know the deal. It's a freaking
mandate, bro.
Mandate that you attempt to get out there and have the best week of your life. Do it. Mine started. I guess my week started yesterday. When does the week officially start, Juan? When they're watching this on a Monday or a Sunday?
Yeah, I'm a Monday start guy.
Okay.
I think Sunday is the conclusion of the weekend. So I think my week starts on Monday.
So there you go. So most of you has gone through the day. You're watching this on Monday, maybe Tuesday morning, whatever you're doing. Hey, from this point going forward, make it the best. Try to make it the best week of your life. There's some good. There's some bad.
All you can do is try. If you don't try, you ain't gonna do it.
There's some times in the week you feel just like you feel after like that third little sample of beer where you're like, woo. And there's a time where you feel after that 13th sample of beer where you're like, oh, that was a mistake.
Oh, bro. Yeah. I should have quit at 12.
I should have stopped. When I stopped.
12 and a half was my limit.
Highs or lows, man. Keep moving forward, y'all. Get it done. And so we're going to wish everybody a fantastic week and do our best to be back with you again next time. I think we got it. You good?
Yeah, I'm good, bro.
I'm good too. We out here. Love you, bro.
Back at you, dude. Yeah. When I moved that box last week, because we're trying to clean out storage, also since the box had been eaten by mice, 2 or 3 bottles of hot sauce fell out of it and broke on the concrete.
At your house?
No, in the storage unit. So
jeez. That's nice on a hot day.
Oh yeah. When there's nothing but grunge all over the storage unit that you're having to sweep out. Now there's hot sauce all over the ground.
Why you got hot sauce in the storage closet?
All because it was in the box, and I got tired of the box sitting in my garage, so I threw the box in storage. Same reason you got protein powder in there.
Gotcha.
Because Elijah is very happy to consume my stuff, but he just wants to make sure ain't nobody consuming his stuff.
Muscle powder and hot sauce. I think he's safe.
Hot sauce. Yeah.
I think he's safe.
It's over. Go home.